We are live in the fields of Hyrule. Oh, wrong game. Look at this Hyrule field. Look at this. Immediate battle. Immediate. No.
It's always hard positioning.
No remorse in Dragon Quest VIII. How's everyone doing?
Man, I'm so glad we're playing Dragon Quest VIII again.
Me too.
This is a stream I really wanted to continue.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun during the last.
Yeah, you threw this out there. We needed a stream today. You're like, let's continue.
You threw it out. I believe it was you.
Well, we're both taking credit.
Okay.
Why not?
What is our objective right now?
We're supposed to retrieve. If you tuned in last time, we failed at the boss. We got a little too hasty. We're only level 5 right now. We should be about 8.
We're beefing up, would you say?
We're beefing up.
Okay.
We have to kill the monster in the cave that has the fortune teller's crystal ball. Cool. That's what we got.
A lot of people are saying hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I like this question. In light of recent events, what is your favorite Robin Williams movie?
Mrs. Doubtfire. It's not even a question. Although I do like Good Will Hunting. He's very intense.
I like Good Will.
He's so intense in that movie.
I'm also a big fan of Aladdin.
Of course.
Genie?
Yeah. Legend. Legendary.
Huber, I'm having a very particular day. Do you ever have those days where you wake up and you're like, do I need to shave today?
Mm-hmm.
And then you decide against shaving.
Yep.
And then you leave your house or
You
apartment and you're like, man, I
Yeah.
should have shaved. I'm feeling that way a little bit right now.
I'm having a rough day. You know, Robin Williams passing away.
It's sad. It's sad. I don't mean to belittle that with my shaving.
No.
I'm sorry.
And just juggling, you know, reviewing. It's a long day. I just want to say that this hour is the best hour of my entire day.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great just talking to others about RPGs and the like. It's great.
Rick and Robo! Resident Evil 0 finished it! Well played, Rick and Robo. I'm proud of you.
He says, though, that the second sentence is, man, that game is rougher than the
Now,
other RPGs.
rougher as in harder, more difficult, or
I'm
not as
well.
good? Mike Hook, HuMoore, he likes Moober. I kind of like Moober, too.
Don't know if I like Moober.
Moober.
Maybe, it's fun to say.
Yeah.
So when are we going to see the playable demo of FF12? The reason I bought this game...
I love that. Let's
is
show...
because of the playable demo of FF12.
I mean, remember when games used to do cool things like this? How cool is that?
Yeah, it is. It's a little sad in some ways, I guess, that Square probably didn't believe in the Dragon Quest name enough nonetheless to let it go on its own, but...
Dragon's Dogma Quest. Just kidding. Just like...
I wish there was a Zone of the Enders 3 demo in the Phantom Pain. I wish that was a thing. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Why are you making me depressed? Because that's never happening. Difficult. Okay, Rick and Robo, he says it was difficult. It is a tough one. Although setting...
I don't remember it being a tough...
Setting items on the ground was awesome. I
really?
love it.
Oh, I thought it was a little tedious.
Well, instead of having to go to the boxes, it's like, oh, I just want to pick up that herb and use it. But my inventory's full. You could also, if your inventory was full and you pick up the herb, it asks you if you want to use it right now. Which is amazing.
I guess what I mean by tedious is, and maybe I'm misremembering, is I felt like my inventory got full a lot more quickly than it did.
Yeah, there was a ton of shit to carry.
There was a lot of stuff to carry.
That's a good point. Gamescom tomorrow, super hyped. 5 a.m.
Is it really
Microsoft,
tomorrow?
5 a.m. Press conference.
You gonna be up? You gonna wake up for that?
I kind of want to. It's an event.
It,
like, you know, Bossman had a great point. He was talking about it, and he just has that excitement that is so rare. It's like that E3 level of anticipation. Like, it's gonna be some big announcements.
I've followed games closely for a long time, the majority of my life, I would say. And a few years ago, Gamescom was kind of like a thing that happened to me. I liked it, but it didn't seem like anything significant came out during it. But now, it's getting to the point where it feels as big as E3.
Yeah.
Like, companies are saving stuff for Gamescom.
Love it.
And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
one of the big things I heard that I just found out today was new UI for PlayStation is going to be shown off.
Yep.
Finally.
Yep.
Maybe some custom
folders.
Custom folders.
Some
rearranging
shots
that.
already leaked. I've seen it already.
Custom folders.
Yep.
Confirmed.
Well, it was in the leaked shots. So
And custom wallpapers.
I didn't see the wallpapers. I saw folders and I saw like the new layout for notifications.
Yeah.
It looks good. It looks like a
That's
notable
been a long time
improvement.
coming. That's a hell of a
What's the if you'd have one dream thing, not necessarily unrealistic.
Shenmue 3.
No, I mean like let's keep it believable.
Dragon Quest 11, Dragon Quest 11 PS4.
It's just don't you think that's something they would do it with TGS?
You know, I would say that, but when is the last time that TGS ever did anything for you, Benmore?
It's been a while. The last couple of TGS.
You know, and it's always like, oh, TGS. They're gonna do something.
The reason I say that is Dragon Quest doesn't really have any presence in Europe.
Yeah.
Doesn't really have any presence in North America.
You're right. You're right.
It's really only a powerhouse in Japan.
Yeah. You're right. Bradbot said we're gonna wipe on the. I'm gonna wipe on the boss. You know, I don't appreciate that.
Bloodborne is gonna be playable at TGS or not TGS, Gamescom. Wow, I'm getting confused. That's really exciting.
Bloodborne?
Yeah, because
obviously.
I remember.
Bloodborne.
I remember
Bloodborne tomorrow.
Like,
is it gonna
I
be
hope
tomorrow?
it's a substantial demo. I hope we get to see what that game is like.
I want to see.
I don't think it's gonna be tomorrow.
I want to see. Not the intro world, or not the intro section, but something like that, where you know the Souls games always have those intros where it's like Demon Souls.
Yep.
You see the enemies, you see a new area, and it culminates with a boss fight.
Yep.
I want to see something like that.
The E3 demo for Dark Souls 1 showed the undead hollow where you fight the boar, like up until you fight the boar.
Yeah.
That was a really good vertical slice of that game.
The
because
boar.
It didn't,
Oh, the armored boar,
yes,
dude. That
yes.
thing was a pain in the butt.
But it gave you a sense of that game without really ruining anything. I hope they do with Bloodborne.
RHD, here we go again with the hardest questions of my entire life.
Man,
What would you do if Dragon Quest 11 is Japan only?
You'd import a copy.
Yeah, but how the hell are you going to play a 100-hour RPG in Japanese?
So, here's my thing.
Killing me.
There's enough of a Dragon Quest contingency here that maybe a year to a year and a half down the line, you could hope for a fan translation. So what I would do, in your case, and I like Dragon Quest enough that I would probably do it as well, is I would import a copy, try to get as much enjoyment out of that as I could, and then hope for a fan translation.
Yeah.
Not ideal, obviously.
Anti-Cynic wants to know the best Dragon Quest game. I say 8, hands down.
8 is my favorite one.
8 is my favorite.
There are plenty of other good Dragon Quest games, though. 5 is awesome.
4, 5, and 6, when they all came out on
4
3DS. Or DS, I'm sorry. That's probably the best thing a DS has ever done for me. Was release 4, 5, and 6.
6 didn't really stick out to me.
Yeah, 4 and 5.
I haven't played 7. I actually own a copy on PS1.
Cub Osman says Bloodworth is wrong. The battle music in this game rules.
Absolutely.
Yeah, curse Bloodworth for not doing a backtrack
I would
on
say
Dragon Quest.
all of the music in this game is
the best.
Exceptional. I know you disagree, but it really hurt me when Bloodworth said the music in Revengeance sucks.
Bloodworth said that?
Yeah, I think the Revengeance.
Dude, Damiani made me change my entire life perspective on Metal Gear Revengeance. I'm down with that game, man. I'm okay with that.
Are you?
Yeah.
Wow. This is
Jack's
a big deal.
back! Jack the Ripper!
I think if you appreciate Revengeance on its own terms,
exactly.
It's a really fun game.
When I first played through it, there was no way I was going to look at it I was not going to look at it any other way than it being a sequel to Metal Gear Solid 4. And that was the wrong idea.
Absolutely.
But it's freaking canon to the series, dude! How do you not look at Metal Gear as a story?
There have been so many times where creative people on big franchises have any tiny little thing, they're like, yeah, it's canon, because they want it to sell. Don't let that word mess you up, man. It gets thrown around all the time for so many things.
Metal Gear canon is a sacred entity. It is a life form. You don't mess with it, HuMoore. You don't mess around.
I'm a fan as well. But like when they
Anti-Cynic
say,
says it's not canon.
This Halo book is part of the canon, like doesn't mean I'm gonna go read the Halo book. Persona Dating Online is canon. I am actually really excited to play that just because I love the music in Persona so much. I like this question. Anti-Cynic says, what do you guys think of EA Access?
I mean, if it's not forced upon me personally to get the most out of an EA game that I purchase, then I'm okay with it. But the second you need like EA access to play multiplayer or something along those lines, then I'm against it. What do you think?
How much is it again?
I want to say it's like $50 for a year. Don't quote me on that. Do you guys know?
I think I don't get enough out of EA games to make it worthwhile. That's just me personally. I don't purchase like Battlefield expansion packs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
see. I purchase the Battlefield Season Pass because it's incredible value. It's a game that I always come back to throughout the year. I'll come back every month or two, play a couple rounds, whatever. Is this going to dilute that? Do I have to double dip now? I have to get EA Access and Battlefield Premium? Talking $100 here.
It's just getting to the point where it's really frustrating. I feel like I have I'm somebody that likes to play on every platform, where I like to have all options available to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it when someone's like,
$30 a year, $5 a month.
You can't play this because you don't have this subscription or this system.
Yeah.
That really bothers me. And so I'm paying for Xbox Live. I'm paying for PlayStation Plus, right? Those are already two systems where I'm paying X amount per year.
Yeah.
I don't think I get enough out of EA games, nor are there enough EA games that I'm interested in to spend an extra $30 a year. Like PlayStation Plus, what's nice about it is it's applicable to any game that comes out on Sony platforms. Mm-hmm. That's a broad range, and they're giving you a bunch of free games. Yeah. If EA Access is like, hey, if you subscribe to EA Access, you get Battlefield 4. I already have Battlefield 4. I've had Battlefield 4 for a year.
Yeah.
Like, what value is this to me?
Can we just talk about this environment? How gorgeous this is.
It is.
This game is so old.
It is.
Resident Evil Remake Remaster, giving me hope for a Dragon Quest VIII remaster. Bring it on. There will not, like, I don't understand. There's some hatred going around for these remasters, Last of Us remasters. The more the merrier, I say. The more the merrier.
Hubert,
bring them on.
Listen to this.
Make every game HD. Every game ever made.
I think where people are coming from, and can you understand this viewpoint? People spent $400 to $500 on these new consoles.
Yes.
They want new experiences.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's necessarily that they're against remasters and HD updates, but when you feel like that's what you're predominantly getting, I think that can be a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
No.
What about the people who never played Last of Us on PS3 and now they have a PS4? They get to play it for the first time.
Totally, and that's great for those people, but you have to wonder, like, are these companies relying on those things too much?
I think they are. It's a great point.
That's the only thing.
It's getting out
I'm
of
not
control.
against them. I just, like, Capcom, for example. I am really excited for this Resident Evil Remake HD update, whatever it's called. But
Remake, Remaster, Director's Cut, exclusive content.
Is this what we're getting in lieu of another Resident Evil Revelations, for example, I would rather have another Resident Evil Revelations, personally. I don't know.
Whoa! You would rather have another Revelations than an HD Resident Evil remake?
You know what's funny is I have a lot of criticisms against Revelations.
Yeah.
There
and you would still rather have...
Yes.
What?
I think so.
What?
I think so.
Ben Moore.
Because...
What? What? Explain yourself.
To
no
me...
No way. Revelations is not fun.
To me... The way a game looks, right, only goes so far.
Yeah.
I've played Resident Evil 1, both the original and the remake, a lot.
Yeah.
Probably more than 10 times.
Yeah.
Me playing it through again and having it look slightly better is less interesting than them trying new things.
Well, what about the new camera?
What I appreciate with Resident Evil Revelations, as many reservations as I have with it, is they were like, okay, how can we do a new take on classic Resident Evil? And that's what they tried to do, and I think they failed in a lot of ways.
Oh, they failed.
But it's way more interesting for me to play through that and have them struggle with that than rest on something that is such a known quantity. Like, I can think of every room and every encounter in the original Resident Evil at this point.
Me too.
And it's great that that's in HD, but is that more substantial than them trying to push that series forward? Like, I want Resident Evil to continue, and I don't know if
it will continue. 7 is coming. I don't think this impedes 7's process. You know what they're doing? They're testing the waters. If this thing sells like hotcakes, look out.
But again,
Resident Evil 2 HD
I hate that
coming
logic
your
as
way.
well. I hate that logic as well. Because there have been numerous times with a lot of franchises that I care about where they're like, if you like this and you want to see more of it, please buy this HD remake.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do that because they're like, no, I already have the original. I don't want it in I don't need it, I guess, is a better way to say it, in HD. So they don't buy it. So the company is like, well, I guess we don't need to make more of these. That's a problem. Like, I don't think that's a good way to gauge consumer interest.
Yeah.
Right? Zone of the Enders HD did not sell exceptionally well. Doesn't mean there shouldn't be a Zone of the Enders 3.
Absolutely.
I remember Chrono Trigger DS not selling that well, and Square was like, well, I guess people don't want more Chrono games. Like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I agree. I agree with you on that.
Beyond Good and Evil. Maybe Beyond Good and Evil HD did not sell to expectations,
yeah.
So that put a hold on Beyond Good and Evil HD.
But another Revelations, man?
I'm not saying Revelations 2.
You'd rather have 7
Not
than remake.
I'm just trying to say...
You'd rather them do something new.
further develop the series.
Okay. I feel you. I think they're going to, though. I don't think this will impede franchise progress in the East. In fact, they will see the reaction to people and how much they love that core survival horror experience and not this action-packed crap that is Resident Evil 6. I'm getting heated, man.
No.
Resident Evil 6.
I appreciate your viewpoint. I'm not trying to make you mad. I'm just talking it out.
I don't think any game has made me more personally upset than Resident Evil 6. That game
sucks.
It makes me sick. The very thought of it makes me sick to my stomach.
Resident Evil 6 is like somebody took one of your favorite things and then urinated on it.
Yeah.
That's what Resident Evil 6 is like. It's so oblivious to what the heart of that franchise is that it's just nothing more than constantly insulting.
A lot of people hate Resident Evil 5, but I loved the Wesker story arc in that. It was the culmination of a decade-long rivalry. The payoff was great. Volcano fight.
Huber, but bear with me.
Yeah.
I think this is a salient point.
Yeah.
It's weird when I think about the last 2 years, and I feel like I've played almost as many HD updates as I have new games. That's weird.
Because they already came out with Resident Evil 4 and Code Veronica HD. Those were secretly, silently
and I played
released.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
And I have like 15 different copies of Resident Evil 2. I mean, they've done this in the past. They have Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation, PSN, Nintendo 64, GameCube, Sega Dreamcast, PC. Right. They just milk it.
That's the thing, is I can think of the original Resident Evil on so many different platforms. Like, they did the DS update. They did, like... Okay, the other thing for me is the GameCube remake is one of the best remakes in video game history. It's substantial. It is the blueprint for which all remakes should follow.
100%.
And the thing is, when I put in my GameCube, which I did 1 year ago and played through the whole thing, it still looks really good.
Incredible.
So, I don't know. That's why, although it would be a lot more work, a lot more effort, I wish I could see that same level of love and care applied to Resident Evil 2, as we've talked about a million times.
This guy keeps dodging my attacks.
Grief51 says, who cares about Resident Evil 7? The true successor to RE4 is Shinji Mikami's The Evil Within.
You're my man, Grief.
Nothing but hope over there.
You're my man. On a side note, I did get to play The Evil Within behind closed doors at E3.
HuMoore VIP.
And I was extremely happy. I was nervous before going into it. The game has not shown well. It just has not shown well. Trailers and everything.
It looks rough.
Everyone's just like, Played it at E3, and it was awesome. That's all I gotta say.
Dissipate.
So I'm way more optimistic about it. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Ben Moore, what are your thoughts? Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you need it?
Final Fantasy VII is a really interesting... That's a really interesting question, because regardless of how your personal feelings are with the game, I don't think you can deny that Final Fantasy VII is really, really, really important.
Oh, it's important.
It was sort of like this crystallization moment for Western RPGs, right? They had varying levels of success until that point, but suddenly role-playing games were big blockbuster productions.
Yeah. When
Final Fantasy VII. And the shift from Nintendo to Sony, I mean, that was a big power move in the gaming industry. So it has a lot of historical significance. There's a lot of things to love about those games. People overuse those words, but Cloud Strife is an iconic classic video game character.
Yeah,
that music.
That Buster Sword on his back.
Right, like, regardless of whether or not you've played it, you're aware of Final Fantasy VII in a meaningful way. So, the other thing is, it's a game that visually doesn't hold up that well.
At all.
Seeing Cloud...
To me, it's one of the most poorly aged games out there.
Like...
It is aged poorly.
I still have soft spots for some of those pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah.
I like that style. But the super deformed chibi characters are not at all how you want them to look. And I think watching Advent Children, that's even more apparent. You're like, wow, what if they could do a remake that looked like this? I think that would be great. I also think doing another pass on the script to make it perhaps a little bit more coherent than it is in the original version would be great. But at the same time, knowing Square, knowing how long they can take on projects, knowing how long, like how many resources they put into something like that, I don't know. At this point, maybe it would just be better to move on.
So, a lot of chat was saying about remakes that they're okay with them, whatever, they don't have to buy them. You're saying that you don't like the companies taking those resources. You'd rather see the resources be moved to new future projects?
Well, I just think Square specifically has proven that they're not very good at managing projects. Like, when you announce a game called Final Fantasy Versus 13, and you want it to be a companion thing to a game also announced in... So Final Fantasy Versus 13 was announced in 2006. Did not come out at all. It's been 8 years.
Jeez. Has it been that long?
They couldn't even put out that game, so they had to make it something completely different, put it on a new console.
Ugh.
You know? Instead of making Kingdom Hearts 3, they released a bunch of spin-offs that have been varyingly good as well. So,
like, speaking the truth.
if they can put out Final Fantasy 15 and it's amazing and it satiates
it looks
people,
so good.
Then maybe, but just put out that game.
It looks amazing.
Beyond.
No, it's been so long though. At this point, you want them to take their time. They've already taken so much time.
Right.
Make it. Can't wait. That's a Ben Moore question from Mike Hook.
What is that?
Could a new JRPG change the gaming landscape like Final Fantasy VII did?
So, JRPGs are my favorite type of genre, and I like them to be a certain way. I appreciate very traditional JRPGs. That being said, and a lot of people are going to be upset with me at this, I think JRPG fans are the reasons, are a big reason why maybe a JRPG can't capture audiences the same way that Final Fantasy VII did back in the day. Because a lot of times when I'm on message boards looking up JRPGs, people say, well, how long is it? And if you say less than 40 hours, people get upset. If you say that there isn't any leveling up, or there isn't any skills or magic or equipment, people sort of treat that like a foreign thing. And so you see JRPGs take these, for the most part, really like incremental approaches. Even Persona, which I think has had like quite a bit of a rise for JRPGs, like that has gotten more popular than a lot of other JRPGs have. It still has a lot of those old systems within it, and it's a game like Persona 4 is a game where you're only reading text for the first 3 hours of that game.
More than
you can't even
can't
move
do it.
around
Yeah.
for the first 3 hours. And it's a game that's 70 hours that could probably be trimmed to 50. And Persona 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. And it's things like that. Like, if you tell the average game player, like, hey, Persona 4 is a really amazing experience, which it is, do you have 70 hours to spend with it? No. That's why, like, no one played this game, but Crimson Shroud on the 3DS, it's a downloadable title on the 3DS.
You told me about this. It's only like a few hours.
That is one of my favorite JRPGs of the last 5 years. I know other people didn't love it as much as I did. It's only 5 hours long, both in terms of story, characters, and the depth of combat. You get all of that within 5 hours.
Wow.
They trimmed it down to its most essential parts, and I think it's an approach that needs to be taken with more JRPGs.
Leveled up right before the boss fight. That is just fantastic news. I usually go axes, but committed to clubs this time around because we have one.
Do you think a JRPG can dominate the way the Final Fantasy VII dominated audiences?
Honestly, the way 15 looks to blend cinema with the game, like when the guy is there and he like puts his hand on his back and then comes and shoots, and how that's all seamless with combat and story, like 15 is looking like the real deal. It's looking like the second coming of Square. What do you think? Do you think it could possibly even live up to expectations? Pretty high expectations.
What Final Fantasy needs to be is what it originally was. Like, okay, the greatest thing about Final Fantasy is every single time they have a new game, it's not just how can we improve Final Fantasy. The question was always, how can we rethink Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Think about how different 7, 8, and 9 are from each other.
Yeah.
In terms of setting, in terms of tone, in terms of characters, in terms of exploration, in terms of combat. Everything is brand new. And what I feel like Final Fantasy 13 is how can we make Final Fantasy more accessible?
Yeah.
How can we...
Absolutely.
How can we make this more approachable to wider audiences?
Because 12 is so hardcore.
And it just comes across as this game that is chasing the dollar more than it's chasing its own vision. And
Ben Moore,
that's
quote
really
of
upsetting.
the week, quote of the month, chasing the dollar. I need to write that down.
It doesn't
That is
open up
amazing.
until like 20 hours in, and it feels like you're. It feels like it's like, we'll finally let you do this now. Like we finally trust that you're not retarded enough to go. I shouldn't use the word retarded. I'm sorry.
Chasing the dollar.
And that
Love
can't
it.
be what Final Fantasy 15 is. Final Fantasy 15, the only question that should be answering is how can we make Final Fantasy exciting again? And when you watch that reveal trailer, it looks exciting.
Exciting. I was screaming.
But so did the Final Fantasy 13 trailer. Like, I was sold on Final Fantasy 13 until I actually played it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Alright, here we go. Where I would like to have full mana, but it just ain't gonna happen. Let's just use...
Can I say something? Now that we're talking about Final Fantasy 13, it made me think of.
Yes.
I just want to say this to all people. I've been in the gaming press for exactly 1 year now.
Yeah.
A few days ago, I celebrated my 1 year anniversary of Game Shows. And there's one piece of advice that I want to give to everybody that comes to our site. There's not a single person here that is disingenuous with you. When we give a review, it really is our honest opinion.
100%.
I've been around these guys long enough to know that. But the thing is, when I go to these events, like I just went to an Alien event, and I just went to a Call of Duty event, and those games showed really well there. But even if we're extremely positive, always wait for the review. These events are designed in such a way where they're trying to give like the best possible first impression that I'm always hesitant to say, like, no matter what I see, like, yes, this is absolutely going to be awesome. Because I just have this fear that I'm going to get shown something that is not representative of what the final product is.
That makes me nervous.
Like, when I saw Alien Isolation, I was so hyped on that. But I played 3 hours of maybe a 10-hour long game. I've only played 1/3 of it. Maybe the other 2/3 suck. It's just, it's so hard to say.
50 psych. High tension. Oh no!
I'm sorry, you're in an intense
Frick, man. Frick. Frick.
We're just not high enough. Gotta grind.
No. That was my bad, dude. I should have healed before this fight. That was so dumb. I was trying to
How low were you?
35 out of 50. Don't attack. Sizz.
You know what I would like to see from Microsoft tomorrow at Gamescom? A lot of these games that we saw at E3 were only like CG reveal trailers. Like Scalebound from Platinum Games or Phantom Dust.
Yeah.
I want to see gameplay from those games. I think that's what I'm hoping for. Battlefront 3 would be awesome as well. Sid Lannel, I'm sorry if I butchered that name, made a good comment. It's impossible to be perfectly objective and not let the excitement carry you a bit. You know, I think that's a really good comment. I think it's okay to get caught up in the excitement. It makes you feel more human. Like, if you don't let yourself get excited about anything, then what's the point? Like, you love games. You should get swept up in that sometimes. And yeah, I think that's something I fall into, where I get too worried or too skeptical or too paranoid. I think that's a problem I have. You did it!
Boom!
How did you do it?
Boom! Stratagem. Psyching up.
Nice job,
Healing. Psyching up.
I'm just rattling away and you're taking care of business.
Yes! Killed him. Geyser. Seed of Strength. Love those seeds. Permanent upgrades for your characters.
Yep.
I would just give them all to my main character, though.
I always appreciate those items in RPGs where it's like, okay, one use, you can increase a stat this much.
I love those.
Because it's an item you really have to think about.
Yeah. I just usually stack my main hero though. But I think now actually I would maybe give him strength and I don't know. I think I'd like to even it up this time around. Maybe give Jessica like the intelligence ones for mana. Give Angelo some like armor.
That makes sense to me. I always build the main character as a strength character. He just looks like a swordsman.
Yeah.
Something I'm playing through Persona 4 again. Something I really like about it is mana restorative items you cannot buy in shops. You can so the ones that you collect in the dungeons, that's it.
Yeah.
Or you can grow them in your garden. So when you run out of mana, you feel really bad about using those items because you're like,
yeah,
should I waste this very limited thing? I think that's cool.
Look at this, just this classic fairy tale inspired backstory going on right now. I mean, this is like a Disney movie. This is like Studio Ghibli right now. Like this could be a Ghibli movie.
Akira Toriyama gets a lot of hate, but I think his characters are really expressive.
I love it. I love him.
Like, I can get a sense of what each character is like just by looking at their face.
Yeah. As I thought, that was you! I don't know what you want.
Taking that crystal ball.
It's yours now.
Give it up. Got it.
One last thing. Should you meet, don't throw things in the forewater.
I like how you leave them alive too. It's not all murder and death, you know. You go your own way.
Definitely.
He was just pissed because he, you're encroaching on his turf. There he goes. Excellent. Yangus, he died for a good cause. Evac, very valuable skill. Just warp right out of that dungeon.
I like in Dragon Quest games when your party is dead and they follow you around in coffins.
Yeah, it's so good. Do I even have warp yet? I don't. We gotta make it back to town. It's never easy in Dragon Quest. You just come out of a dungeon and a boss fight, you got no mana, your party's dead, and you gotta walk back to town. Treacherous.
Coffin.
There he is, Yangus. So awesome. Just licking his lips. RHD, we were talking about a bunch of stuff, mainly RPGs, and how we love them. And there one day will be a revolutionary JRPG again.
I really wish there were more JRPGs like Dragon Quest in some ways. Like, how many times do you get upset when a JRPG takes itself too seriously? Mm-hmm. And its characters go on long monologues about, like, Lightning Returns. There are a lot of conversations where it just seems like, Jesus Christ, Square Enix, you are way too far up your own ass. Whereas there are serious moments in Dragon Quest VIII, but it's never bogged down by that stuff. You're fighting candy cats.
Yeah.
Like, Dragon Quest takes
it's got a
joy in the simple things.
Yeah, it's
I
joyous.
Really appreciate that. Yeah. I think that's cool. I wish there were more Grandia games.
Grandia is so fun. Grandia 2, man. Whew. Dreamcast. Hell of a system.
Huber, someday you should play the Shadowverse games. They're really good.
I think I played one for Countdown.
Shadowverse Covenant.
Your battle systems, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that game was really intense. It's really serious. There's like some World War going on. People dying everywhere. It's pretty bleak.
Definitely.
Demons taking over.
I liked the characters though.
FF13 has a terrible sense of self-seriousness.
I mean, it's been said to death, but Lacies are just gods. Just call them gods. Don't
Lassie, Falsi, Ilsi, Quasi, Mousy, Boosie. Too many.
Too many.
Remember the debacle that I wanted to do when I just wanted to do a quick... I wanted to do a quick recap of Final Fantasy 13 and 13.2 before 13.3 came out, just to catch everyone up to speed. No. Not happening.
You couldn't.
A quick recap would have been like 7 pages.
Yep.
It was not happening.
Did you ever play Lost Odyssey? I see a little bit of talk about it in the chat.
I did, but I never finished it. Regrettably.
I really like that game.
Look at the church charging you money to bring someone back from the dead. Pay up, says the church. Pay up.
You know, when I go home, my family's like really adamant about if I'm there, I have to go to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I go there, and they pass around that donation basket, and I always feel really guilty not donating.
I treat it... I don't want to come off weird here, but I treat it like a tip basket.
Mm.
You know, throw a couple bucks in there. It's like I'm tipping. Same concept. Just throw a couple dollars in there, you know? Just a little something.
Tipping for the service.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They give you the service, and you know, here's a little tip.
I should be more giving with my money.
Just a couple bucks.
Somebody asked, what do you think the worst Final Fantasy is?
Final Fantasy 7. No, I'm just kidding. You know, I haven't played every single one. So, the worst one I've played is probably 2.
I really dislike 2.
Yeah.
I really dislike 2.
Played that, the PSP version of that. Didn't make it very far. Not a lot of fun. I really like 12. It's probably my favorite. You know, it's...
Matsuno should make more games. Have you ever played Final Fantasy Tactics?
Have played Tactics. PSP. Tactics. Hell of a game. Look at these guys. Just hanging out. Hanging out around the well.
Final Fantasy Tactics has maybe the best story of any Final Fantasy.
Hercule. What's up, Hercule?
You know, Hubert, since we're looking at a bunch of Akira Toriyama art,
yeah.
I think Goku is a really good character.
Goku's amazing.
I've been thinking about this a lot.
There are just certain things that have been overplayed and overhyped to a point where people are pissed at it.
Why?
And that's the way the world works.
Because here's what I like about Goku.
I love that he eats.
Yes,
a lot.
That's a big part of it.
That he just loves to fight, but not hurt people that don't need to be hurt.
Right.
You know, loves the fight for the fight, and to save his friends.
Goku never fights unless he absolutely has to, unless it's the last resort.
Yeah.
Taken on his own, he's just a guy that eats way too much food, and is not the brightest crayon in the box. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's not a learned man.
You know who takes himself too seriously, chat, is Vegeta. Takes himself
But Vegeta is a perfect foil
Love
to
Vegeta.
Goku, right?
Oh, they're the best tag team. Top 10 tag teams of all time. Goku and Vegeta is in the conversation for #1. You cannot deny it.
Goku never gets obsessed with power, so that's why he's always able to achieve it.
Yeah.
Because Vegeta is so obsessed with it, he's always one step behind. He will never take that pivotal, most powerful slot.
Yep.
Back then, there was nothing.
Happy birthday, Debu. Wants to know where you can play Final Fantasy VI for cheap.
Final Fantasy for cheap. That's a great question.
You can emulate it for free, but we don't condone that course of action.
I hate that the easiest way to access it is... Well, I guess that's not true. So there's 2 easy ways to access it. One is better than the other. You can get it on PlayStation Network, which is great in some ways because you can play it on your Vita, your PSP, or your PS3. But the PS1 version is the worst version. The load times are unbearable. I would not recommend it. And in a game where it's a long game, you don't want to have that insufferable load every time you open the menu, because you open the menu a lot. Another easy way to access it is the Wii Virtual Console. So if you own a Wii U or a Wii, that's the way you should do it. I'm a big fan of the Game Boy Advance version as well. I love having something like that on the go, and it's a great version of it. You also get an extra boss.
Yeah.
That you don't get in the main version. But
Talking about not taking themselves too seriously. Look at this word right here. Yangus is sleeping. Afu.
Right.
Looks like he's zonked.
Right.
And out for the count. He's zonked. I'm gonna start using that. He's zonked. It's super rare, but sometimes books grant you permanent stat bonuses. There are books in the world that will give you, like, 1 strength. It's a rarity.
That's something I'm actually going to give to the Elder Scrolls. I think they do it the best, because I get a little bit frustrated sometimes in RPGs where I get permanent stat bonuses from books.
Yeah.
But you don't actually read anything. It's just like, you found a book on martial arts, so now you have +1 dexterity. In the Elder Scrolls, you actually get a story.
Yeah.
Or you get something, and you can, like, it's multiple pages and you're flipping through the whole thing and you're like, I get a stat bonus and I feel like I actually learned something by reading this.
That's awesome.
I think that's way better.
It's really cool. Here we go. All I see is a big long paragraph from RHD. If you could get DQX localized but not be allowed to play RE, would you do it? No. I'm not digging it.
Not for an MMO.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Did you guys hear Patrick Klepek is playing Fatal Frame 2 tomorrow night on Giant Bomb? I'm hyped. Great game. Absolutely, it's a great game.
I'm tuning into that.
Yeah, I am too. I'm a big fan of Giant Bomb. But not to, like, copy them, although I guess it's kind of what this is. I really want to stream Fatal Frame sometime, because it's a great horror game that I feel like not a lot of people have had a chance to play.
Yeah.
I still want to import Fatal Frame on the Wii.
Gov.
Dolmegus.
Dolmegus, right? So where'd he go after that?
Why is Dolmegus
What
a great
else can
game?
he deduct?
It's just that, stereotypical.
What's this?
Hungry for power. Has the superiority complex. We're not worthy of being alive type thing,
Right.
He is the only one. He was part of the
This is
king's
definitely my
court.
old crystal ball, but look here.
Turn
It has
on.
been shipped.
Hubert.
The once ally goes evil. I love that.
I want you
Hit some bad
to
look.
watch
Someone
and
has
or
scratched
read
some
Berserk,
What?
because the main antagonist in Berserk, I'm not going to spoil
Yeah.
anything, but I
Brad
just want
bought
to say,
A7, huge Berserk fan.
I just want to say,
You
Griffith,
watch when I... Whatever.
never in
I'll
my
come,
life
Gov.
have I seen a more convincing villain, ever. It is what happens and the way that it happens.
Bold.
Oh, it's so good.
You know what I
they do with
what I
them,
really enjoyed?
What's up?
Was Attack on Titan. They did some surprising things over the course of that season that legitimately surprised and shocked me, which is rare.
How so?
Just killing and not killing off characters being evil and not evil, and just that whole. I don't want to spoil anything.
Dude, I was very impressed with how threatening they actually made the Titans feel. Because you would see these guys training for months, like multi-episodes. You're like, okay, well, they've been training, so they're probably not going to get killed. Typical anime thing. Then first battle, few seconds in, half their team's dead. Wow, characters that I thought were going to be around for a long time. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, Berserk. How long is Berserk was a question. It's not done, which is good.
There it is. Brad Bot.
The anime
equals guts.
The anime that only covers a certain arc. However, there are 3 movies that were recently released that covers the same arc, and they're going to make more movies. I would say.
So are these movies replacing the anime, in a sense?
In a sense, yes. They cover a lot of similar ground, though I would say some of the most traumatic moments in the anime are even more traumatic in the movies. And I think they're a little bit more true to the manga in that sense. So I would say watch the movie. And then if you loved the movie so much like I did, you'll feel compelled to read the manga, where you're going to get all of the story up to now. It's actually not finished.
Jeez.
So it's ongoing, and it's been going for a really, really, really long time.
You got me hyped on it, man. I want to watch these movies badly.
I like a lot of anime. I love Berserk. Like, it's not quite Cowboy Bebop level, but it's close, man. I love it.
The Bebop. Still want
Favorite story arc from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. I really like this.
Frieza. Frieza saga, man. It's culmination.
Frieza is
The
really
show was
classic.
supposed to end after
What
Frieza.
happened? Did
That
you
was
do
it.
what the
It's
young
supposed to
girl
be,
asked?
you know,
Huh?
short and concise.
Frieza might be the most. I really like the Saiyan saga as well.
The Saiyan saga is incredible because everyone is involved, and that's just badass. But Frieza's so good. You have so many factions splintered off. You got the Ginyu, you got Zarbon, Rogue, you got Vegeta teaming up with Krillin and Gohan. Piccolo shows up. There's just so much going on. Love it.
Do you know why I like the Saiyan saga? I'm always a big fan of using a character's past against them.
Yeah.
Like,
Fiend.
Goku was never really a Saiyan in the traditional way, and he's fighting back against this oppressive regime that he's a part of, but he was just shown a different path. And I don't know if I explained that very well, but I think that's cool. But Frieza's just, Frieza is just cold and malicious in a
Cold-blooded
really
killer.
convincing way. Like, you see him destroy
Do you want to know what's really?
Goku's home world.
Do you want to know what's really epic? Is
What's
that
that?
in the newest Dragon Ball film, which is the only Dragon Ball film to be labeled as canon,
Canon, that word again.
takes place after Boo, but before the epilogue. If I have that right. Okay, so he kills Boo, who's like
Okay.
strong as ridiculously strong. The villain in it finds out that Goku killed Frieza and is blown away by that. It's like, this guy killed Frieza? I gotta go fight him. Because Frieza's one of the most powerful people in the entire universe.
Never have I been more interested in watching that movie.
It's
until
so awesome.
now.
to
That is
me.
awesome. That is
so
awesome.
cool. It's like a big deal that he killed Frieza.
Vodka Shots has an interesting comment that I'd like to read. He says, anime is just a celebration of all things awful. Awful voice acting, awful animation, awful story.
Watch
Just
Death
as on
Note
anyway.
and then say it.
Well, I agree. I would say a lot. I feel like such an elitist when I say this, but I think it's true. Anime dub is almost universally bad.
Never. You want to watch it in the original format.
So if you're okay with subtitles,
I'm
watching the
not
original Japanese
okay with
is a
that.
lot better. Now, even that's not always super great, but it's allowed me to enjoy more anime.
RHD, great question. Favorite movie of DBZ? For me, gotta go with Dead Zone. There is
really
something about the tone of that first film that is never matched along the way. It doesn't have some of the big spectacular fights that some of the later movies have, but it has this dark, fairy tale-like tone that only that movie has. I love
I
it.
feel like the
Watch the
character-
Japanese version. The music in the Japanese version is unbelievable. The American ones totally ruin it. Japanese music in Dead Zone, best.
What I really like about Dead Zone is I feel like the characters struggle in a way that they very rarely struggle in the anime.
Yeah.
Like, there's a point in Dead Zone where you're like, these guys might lose.
Yeah.
And I think that's super awesome.
And Brad brings up the greatest quote in history. You guys are so easy one-on-one, dude. So good.
I will,
Rubik's Cube, remember when TN was threatening? Hey, he kind of had a
Really?
resurgence in the Cell Saga. He came back. He was strong.
like,
He fought Cell for a little bit.
in the most... It didn't matter. though, really.
He did still, though. He held his own.
Vakashat says, I agree with this to a certain extent. I know there's some wonderful anime out there. I mean, Studio Ghibli stuff is mind-blowing, and Akira is one of the most amazing anime movies I've ever seen. But mostly I can't just stand it. I mean, in my opinion, nothing is as amazing as Studio Ghibli. Nothing animated has ever run me through the emotional gamut the way Ghibli has with his various films.
Can't argue that.
That stuff is masterful. I mean, if you're talking about typical shonen trash, no, it doesn't hold a candle to that. But I think different things can be enjoyed on different levels.
Shonen trash. GT, I'm not a big Dragon Ball GT fan.
Nah, me either. Like, way to completely miss the point of Dragon Ball.
Yeah. So American. Just make him super strong! Huge battles! Like,
Let's turn him back into a kid!
Yeah, come on.
Have you ever seen Evangelion? I'm really of the belief that game trailers should have an anime club.
Me too.
Like, I wasn't saying that
Me
jokingly.
too. Anime Hour with HuMoore and more.
No, we get so many people in there. We get Bosman in there, we get Damiani in there,
Yep.
we get Elise in there.
Osmond, dude, talk about Pokemon all day.
Sure, anything. Okay. Bacon or a slice of ham? Slice of grilled ham.
Bacon.
Yeah, that question was too easy.
Yeah.
Sausage or a slice of ham?
Sausage.
Omelet or sunny side up? I really love breakfast food.
Omelet.
Interesting.
Vodka Shots wishes all video game soundtracks were this amazing. No other game makes me feel like I'm just going on an epic journey. Could not agree with you anymore.
Well said.
Sign a petition. Bloodworth. Get off your high horse. Time for a backtrack.
I just want to call
Bloodworth
out,
has something against remaster, HD remakes, and soundtracks that are slightly altered in sequels. The guy, new only for Daniel Bloodworth. If it's not new, it's trash.
Nope.
Calling him out. Shots fired.
You can't take away the music from Dragon Quest.
Yep.
It's suddenly something
Oh, well,
else.
it's been done before in the other ones.
I just want to call out my cook here because I completely feel the same way. Agreed, Ben. I just watched The Wind Rises, and it changed the way I felt for the rest of the week. So emotional. Wind Rises is legitimately one of the greatest films I've ever seen. It is so amazing what it does with those characters in that setting, in that situation, that I think everyone should watch it. Have you seen The Wind Rises?
That's one of their newest one, right?
That's one of the newest
Yeah,
ones.
I haven't seen that one.
You have to see it. It's an incredible film, and it will have an impact on you.
Definitely. They've never not had an impact. That's for sure.
I haven't seen
They're
Paprika,
emotional.
but that sounds familiar.
Paprika is so trippy.
It sounds familiar.
That is a weird movie. I like it. Visually incredible. And I don't know how to pronounce it, but Tekton Kincrete? Something along those lines? That one's really cool to look at. Really
I just want to
cool
go home and
world.
watch anime now.
Watch The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and 2. You'll be happy you did. So we're trying to make it to this town.
I really enjoy manga, but I hate the way manga is sold. When I pick up a manga volume, right, like, I used to go to Barnes & Noble and I would see that they had a manga section.
Yeah.
And I would be like, okay, I want to get started in the series. Volume 1.
Yeah.
$16.99.
Jeez.
You can read it in 20 minutes.
Jeez.
And then you're like, well, this series is 40 volumes long.
Guess what? That's
I hate that.
that's almost as annoying as watching one episode of anime a week that with credits, intro, commercial break, you're getting about 17 minutes a week of this.
That's directly targeted at Naruto.
8 minutes of which are flashbacks of last week's episode. So really you're getting about 5 minutes of new stuff.
I'm sorry. People just keep saying good things about Miyazaki. I'm sorry to keep going back to this.
It's a great man.
Vodka Shut says, my favorite Miyazaki film is My Neighbor Totoro. I know it's cliche, but man, that movie just makes me feel good.
Oh, yeah.
My Neighbor Totoro is my favorite Miyazaki movie as well. And Roger Ebert said something in a review that changed my life, and I think is like one of the best things I've ever seen in a review. He said, My Neighbor Totoro does not present the world as it is, but as it should be. And that blew my mind.
Dude, I watched the Ebert documentary Life Itself last weekend, and it was emotional. That's all I gotta say about that. Everyone should watch
Great
it.
man. I didn't even always agree with him.
He's such a great man.
But when you read a review
Passion.
by Roger Ebert, you feel him.
Feel
You're
the
like,
passion.
this guy cares.
Yep.
And that's we should all strive to do like that. This has been a good conversation.
It always is. It always is, Ben Moore. So I love this, kind of a Dark Souls-esque imagery, plot details going on. Clearly, Dolmegus was here. Smashed through here with some magic. I don't know if they mention it or not, but he clearly was. That's all I gotta say about that.
You know, one of my favorite
treasure chest up here,
like foreshadowing things in a JRPG is in Final Fantasy VII. You know when you're on the overworld and you see that shadow of the snake, and if you fight it, that snake will kick your ass most likely.
Yeah. But
then you enter the cave, and you come back out, and you see that the snake is impaled on a tree, and you're like, what did this? Oh, it was Sephiroth. Oh, it's so good! I wish more games.
It's not good.
Ebert, the guy who says video games can't be art. Yes, totally.
Yeah, he hates games.
Like
that's
I said,
true.
I disagree with him on a lot of things. That one most importantly. But I think just because you disagree with somebody or they have different viewpoints to you, even if you really strongly disagree, it doesn't necessarily make them like not valuable people. Like Ebert contributed so much to
I could die right here.
Film criticism that regardless of what his stance on video games was, I still think he's super important. RHD, would you ever want an SRPG for the Zelda series? You with me, Huber?
No.
Okay, I'll answer the question.
Party fleas! Good jeez, Louise! That was such a... Like, that's what I mean, man. You're just traveling around. Random battle. Life-threatening. There's no trash mobs. Talking about Tales of Exilia earlier. Great game, great battle system.
Trash mobs.
But the battle system is almost rendered meaningless in my eyes because you can just mash because you're never threatened. Once in a while, you'll get that boss that is really intense and you have to focus and zone up and fight him and take him down. But most of the battles, a breeze. What good's a battle system if everything's just a breeze?
Absolutely. Like, in a turn-based battle system, the only reason why you should use it is if you have to think about every single action. Otherwise, it's incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Why can't I just hit X then?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Absolutely. Totally agree with you.
So we're almost done here. We're getting to town. Let's save our game
Someone
there.
loves how intense it is. I have to agree.
You know, I'm an acquired taste, I've been told. Some people hate it. Some people love it.
Dude, once it's
I'm sorry.
Once it's in you, it's great.
I just get emotional, you know? I'm an emotional dude.
You're a passionate person.
I love video games and movies more than anything.
One of the greatest
Some people
things-
say I love too many. You know, Ian said a very mean and hurtful thing to me today. Ian said, God, what was it? It was something about, you know, you like so many things, your opinion is worthless.
No.
Something along those lines, he said. It really hurt me.
Dude, that's not true. I've seen you come down hard on things, Huber. Tell me about Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, Resident Evil 6. Things that are really close to my heart. I'll go really hard.
I think what that is people taking a very like quick glance, like, oh, he likes a lot of things and he's very enthusiastic. He must not hate anything. Like, way to jump to conclusions, way to like get to know somebody. I think that's very shallow.
I think I'm screwed here, man. The town is right over there. I'm not gonna make it.
RHD, Ben, how are you going to incorporate JRPGs into yours and Huber's show? I guess we have a show now.
Nice. No, it needs, yeah, JRPGs and...
Dude, I would love to do a show.
And anime combined.
Janime.
Janime! Look at that crit. Feel that blow. Yangus. Dodge it. No, Yangus. Wake up.
Hubert, it's 7:04.
I know, man. I'm trying to get to this town. I'm trying to get there. Probably gonna die.
But these fungools.
Probably gonna die.
Getting in your way.
We're not looking good. Main hero's down.
Huber is like a young Jeff Kanata. I can agree with you.
Yangus is low. Yangus. Good job. But I got no. I can't heal. My healer is dead. I got no herbs. Actually, I might have an herb in my bag. Can you transfer an item if he's dead? Excellent.
Hey man, Bosman stayed an extra hour on Friday. Come on, dudes. Calling us
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Trying to get to this town. Heal it.
Do any of you collect anything other than video games? That really
We made
impresses
it.
me.
We made it.
No,
we
I just
friggin'
collect
made
video
it.
games.
Boom!
I have a lot of those though.
I collect Batman comics.
Mike Cook is calling Elise out, and I feel like I need to call out Elise here as well. How did Elise do with Persona 3? She stopped playing it.
Yeah.
And it really bums me out because I wanted to play Persona 3. I think she'd like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I gave her this copy of 999. She doesn't play 999. And I want to talk to Elise about these games.
Bangers and Mash. Great side characters. These guys are. I love them.
It's for Alistair. Come on, Mash. Let's get him.
Bangers and Mash.
Spaceman, after I called out somebody, he perfectly calls me out. How did I do with Resident Evil 3?
Pone.
Still
Who
have
said
not
that? Who
played
said that?
Resident Evil 3. Good job. Well done.
Spaceman.
Caught
Excellent.
in the act.
You're about to fight these kids?
We're gonna beat up some
Watch.
kids.
No,
Why are
watch.
you beating
This is
some
great.
kids?
What on earth are you two
How funny is that?
That's
Though
pretty
that the
good.
battle is set up.
Look at this character.
Yeah.
Look at his mopey face. This pot in his
He's
head.
got a pot. Yeah.
So great.
Oh.
That grandmother
Where
looks
are your
loving.
manners?
Yeah.
That's no way to welcome travelers.
Show, don't tell.
We're just
Most
travelers.
important rule in anything.
Boom.
Dragon Quest 8 nails it.
Boom.
Didn't Miss Jessica
Miss
ask
Jessica.
you to run an errand for
Here now,
her?
here the story
You are
develops
playing
for
around.
the third member of the party, Jessica.
RHG, killing it. Arrows through the heart. How did you both do with Xenoblade?
Oh,
Still haven't finished
I
it.
played the intro for a countdown.
Someday I will finish
I'm
every game
so
with
sorry.
fire.
It's
You know, my
a promise.
friend, my
I've
best
visited
friend,
through a
who I
lot
trust
lately. There's
very,
nothing
very
wrong with
much
the
when it
place,
comes to
mind. It's a
JRPGs,
lovely village.
was not into Xenoblade. You say it's amazing.
I say
He said
I
it's
say it
not
does
good.
a lot of smart things.
I played like 30 minutes for the countdown, and I could see myself really getting into that game. Actually.
Yeah.
It
What did
looked-
he think was terrible about it?
Visually, he could not get into the visuals. He said it was just trash,
Wow, I think that's a little harsh.
which I kind of
think
agree.
it's-
I mean, it looks like a PS2 game. It looks like a PlayStation.
For as big as the
this-
areas
this
are,
game looks
and
better.
as much stuff is in them. You think they could be done on the PS2? Come on, check
I'm
yourself.
all about quality, not quantity.
It's a gorgeous looking game. Okay, it's a Wii game, man.
That's
You
what I
can't
mean. It
compare
looks like
to-
PS2. It looks like PS2.
Oh my god.
It does. Ugh. My cook's got my back. Bossman, I'm taking that Slesser cup. I'm taking it down. Sensic doesn't like Xenoblade. We do not want to continue. That is
JRPGs
a hell
are
of a
hard to
string.
get into.
They
but
are.
I think if you're persistent,
It's a life
it
commitment.
can be worth it. It's not always worth it, but it definitely can be.
It's
I think
just-
Xenoblade is a game that is worth it. I really believe that.
I wish we could go to Neverland and be children forever. Because playing JRPGs as an adult is so hard. That's all I gotta say, is that there's so much to do in life, bills to pay, jobs to work, animals to feed, family to take care of, not to mention hundreds of other games to play. I want to go home, I want to play Rogue Legacy for a bit.
Finish Rogue Legacy. It's great.
How am I gonna fit this one JRPG in there, man?
Hey.
It's so hard.
It's hard. It's hard. But you know what?
It just makes me sad.
That's the struggle, man. You gotta push through. You gotta do it. One of these days, I want you to play Persona 4.
I'm like 20 hours in, I need to pick it up again. I need to pick it up. You know what game I begrudgingly gave way too much of my time that didn't deserve it?
Which one?
Lightning Returns.
Yeah. Yeah! Oh
What
my god!
was that
Alright, can
about?
I get upset with you?
Why
for a
did I
second?
finish
You
that?
played that entire game because you're like, I gotta finish the
Because
trilogy.
I had beat 13 and 13 too.
The garbage trilogy, mind you. The
Garbage.
trilogy that you don't even really like that much.
Garbage.
And you won't play a
What was I
legit
doing?
classic like Persona 4.
What the hell was I doing?
Ah, HuMoore! Come on!
What was I doing?
Stop it!
I don't know.
Ah!
It was my biggest regret in life.
I just want to say, somebody said
My biggest regret.
Shadow of the Colossus. I played through all of Shadow of the Colossus like 3 weeks ago.
There it is.
In one sitting. Not one sitting, 2 sittings. Brad bought.
Yeah,
I've been trying
I have
to get
his
HuMoore
copy.
to play Persona 4 forever.
I have his copy. I'm like 20 hours in, I put it down. I need to pick it up. Too many games, man.
What are you gonna go home and play tonight? Answer this question.
Probably Rogue Legacy, to be honest.
Okay.
Probably Rogue Legacy. I'm pretty hooked. I'm pretty hooked. Brad Bot calling me out. You know what game I beat? Never Dead.
And if Xenoblade is worth it, Ben, why haven't you finished it? Hey, man, you're right. You're right. I need to finish Xenoblade. There's no excuse for me. There's no excuse for me.
Vodka Shots loves FF13. He loves it.
You know what? I think there is value in Final Fantasy XIII's battle system. I don't think they used it the best. The game is kind of a breeze until the very end, or if you do the super hard optional stuff. But
Yeah.
I want a game to be challenging the entire way through, which Final Fantasy XIII was not.
Well, anyway, we took a big step in this hour. We beat a boss. We made it to the next town.
We had some emotional moments.
The journey is underway. We will be back. We're gonna make it a point, even if this takes a year, Ben. You and I are gonna have enough streams to finish this game.
You know what we should do?
We're doing it.
We should do a Persona 4 stream.
I'm already juggling Shenmue. I gotta finish that on stream.
Dragon
I gotta finish Dragon Quest.
Maybe sometime this fall we can do a Persona 4 stream.
Okay.
Don't want to commit to too much.
As usual, chat.
Was great.
Phenomenal
What's
conversation.
great? It was. This was
Diana
really good
Moore,
chat.
phenomenal.
Everyone, Michael Huber holding it down, doing some really tough fights.
That was a good fight.
Good job.
Going home to play Rogue Legacy. You guys go play some games. Rogue Legacy is worth it if you have PlayStation. $17. Worth every cent.
I love that game so much.
It's worth every penny. You'll have so
I
many
got
hours of fun.
sucked into that game,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, Ben Moore, I saw him playing on his Vita at his desk.
Would not talk to anyone.
Wouldn't look
Head
up.
down.
Head down, wouldn't look.
Barreling through Rogue Legacy. I enjoyed it that much. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Until next time. Who's tomorrow? Tomorrow is